the bottom plate, galvanized nails for the bottom row on the plywood for that nailing.
Can you use any sinkers?
It's plan dependent. It's engineer dependent. So you know, if you have,
I've heard you can only use galvanized anymore
for
anything.
Oh no, yeah, you don't have to use galvanized for everything.
But for all your exterior,
anything treated, anytime you're in contact with treated,
you have to use galvanized,
right?
But not necessarily on the exterior walls.
No.
So you could for
the top plate, they can be regular nails.
Okay. Yeah. Which is a coated sinker still, right?
Yeah, well, most of the time it's commons. So on this plan, we can use a 3 1/4 148, which.
So they're mostly called out as a common nail.
Yeah, almost all plans are common nails. Tom Hume breaks it down a little more clearly, which I'm thankful for, and says 3 1/4 148s for the framing. So it'll be a whole schedule in the plan of what you're nailing and what nails should be used.
There's just so much information on a plan.
Yeah.
That if you don't,
it's 1,000 ways to die.
Pretty much. If you don't, and who wants to read,
every note.
Every note.
Yeah.
Because so much of it just looks like boilerplate.
Right.
But within that boilerplate, you might have a spec just like that and go, oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
When somebody says, well, why are these nails here? I go, well, because that's how we nail these things. Yeah, but right here,
right.
That's what we called out.
Yeah.
This job, yeah, it's tough, man. Getting everything. Oh my gosh.
Right. I mean, yeah, different lumber grades. Posts are number 1. Studs can be stud grade. Plate needs to be number 2 and better. Everything.
And then your jazzy show work, DF number 1, select expose, FOHC.
Yeah, right.
All that stuff. That's
yeah.
The stuff you gotta look out for. And then you got to watch out for architects. And I'm not going to mention any names, Bill. I'm not going to mention any names. Architects that think FOHC means clear. Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, or I've been seeing a lot now is architects that'll push for a select struck call out.
Yeah.
And just because it's select struck doesn't mean it's going to be a nicer looking piece of wood.
Exactly.
That's not how it's graded.
Yeah, right. Well, what about, there's big old nuts in it and checks.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't grade it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And it's got a stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else. So what about this project? Let's walk this project and just take a look at it. We'll walk with you.
Yeah.
Just point out some stuff that is different, or
so everything's on curb, so
which is different, right?
a little bit, yeah.
And then what's the weight?
That's my eraser.
Okay, so you erase.
So I had a snap line there.
White takes it out.
And trying to avoid confusion for the guys plating, and then when they stand the wall up.
And are these all 2x6?
It's all 2x6, yeah.
The walls are 2x6, and is this a 5.5 inch
yeah.
curve?
Yep.
So these guys will totally.
So drywall goes all the way down, right, and
drywall will cover.
Right, and then they'll have, a base that rolls up from the epoxy floor.
Yeah, so the floor's all cove up.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So this is going to be like a little.
I think this is a songbird room.
Songbird room?
Yeah. So over on this end, there's an X-ray room, so it gets lead board.
Lead board on it. Yeah. So lead is in the layers in the drywall in the board.
Right.
Yeah. Heavy stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Do they nail it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure they screw it. I don't think anybody nails drywall anymore.
No,
you're really taking it back.
We used to tack.
Yeah, maybe.
We tack
and then screw it off.
But now I just have our job just got drywall. I saw a few nails, but
yeah.
I mean, really, literally a few.
Right.
5 or 6.
Yeah, a handful.
And then the guys don't want to. The Lathers don't want you nailing anything. Because they don't want to scratch.
Oh, until it's all nailed.
On, but we had a couple of walls that the guys were screwing off.
Yeah, right. Because they don't want.
They're more worried about the brown finish than
they don't want it cracking.
Yeah, they don't want anybody beating on a wall.
Right. So there's some pocket doors. Everything else is hollow metal.
Pocket doors right here.
Yeah, another one down there.
Larger openings, which are double wide. Plus.
Switchback stairs come up right here.
Are these the stairs?
Right. Yeah. So
landing over here.
Landing on that wall. Yeah. So that wall will balloon up. So that'll go up to the second story.
So now this is good. I haven't seen the plan, so I'm going to just step out there. And assuming that this is going to be platform framed, At the second story, you'll have a balloon frame gable end wall. Is it a gable roof?
It is a gable roof, so no, that'll just be a flat wall with a gable truss on top.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's all platform frame.
It's all platform frame. The only balloon wall we have is this wall right here.
This wall?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's just that outside wall that balloons. Everything else is just plate height, typical stud.
And I'll be stopping the video right now and asking my students the difference between a platform wall and a balloon wall. Let's see if they remember. And then what's going on? Oh, this must be the doorway. Of course, any exterior doorways are going to have a break in the curb.
Right.
Just like that. So that plate will be cut out in case anybody's wondering. We won't be having stuff in there.
Right.
Same thing here is a doorway. Right?
Yep.
Doorways. Who did the concrete?
Skipper did the concrete.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The house. Yeah.
Yep. And so you
Is
can.
Arlen still working for Skipper?
I think so. I'm not positive. So you can see this curb is a little bit wider than the others, and that's for plywood to flush out because this is a shear wall.
Oh, so all this has been taken into account prior to. I mean, at the concrete layout stage, this wall is not a 5.5-inch wall. This is a 6-inch wall to take 1/2-inch shear because it's an interior shear wall. Yeah.
Right, and so you have the same thing behind you, and so that green
They
3
get
by.
the 3 by plate for the shear wall. as
Right,
well,
that's what the 3 by is on the concrete
3
there.
by, right there, and then looks like your plumber got and your electrician got all their stubs in good spots. I don't see anything hanging out of the wall. Of course, 2x6 walls make it
Yeah, make it a lot easier.
nice, don't
Right.
they? And all galvanized anchor bolts, all galvanized washers, and galvanized
Yeah.
nuts,
Right.
or stainless, right?
Yeah, stainless is too much money,
Yeah, no
but
No kidding. Wow.
but yeah, it's all hot dip washers.
So if you start framing on Tuesday, when do you think you'll have this thing framed? Do you have a projection at all?
We do. And so when we build our estimate, it's based on man hours.
Right.
So it'll depend on the crew size that ends up out here. My rough guess would be 6 guys, a couple days to get it stood up. And then 2 more days of plumbing lining. Hopefully in a week and a half, we'll be rolling floor joists, is what I would expect.
Can you explain plumbing and lining? It'll help me with my.
So plumbing and lining, we get the walls stood up.
Okay, I'm going to get you with some perspective here. You get walls stood, right? Walls are framed laying down,
Right.
and then they're raised up,
Correct.
and they're braced off and bolted, right?
Braced off and bolted.
Braced, kicked off.
Correct. Yeah. So then,
But they're not plumbed necessarily.
no, right? They're just up,
And
and
they're
they're
just what they are. So
yeah. So they're not even necessarily standing up straight. They're just they're just up. They went from horizontal to vertical.
Okay.
So then the first thing you do is go around and start bolting them down. So you get a sledgehammer, an impact, you drop all your nuts and washers on, and you go through and you start working the plate and beat the bottom plate in or out and make sure you're right on the line. So once you get the whole bottom on the line, like this long outside wall, you could plumb up the 2 corners, string the outside, probably check the middle too and make sure it's plumbed there, and put the string along the outside, and then you pull the wall in or out and make it straight with the string, so that's the line.
And then once it's straight, you adjust your kickers.
Right.
So it's kicked off.
Yep.
Dead straight, dead straight in line along string line. I'm going to draw this on the board, and then also plumbed, right? So the walls
Right.
are plumbed this way,
Yep.
and they're straight in line. And it's pretty important because if you don't do that, you're just like, yeah, stand them up, let's go.
Right.
Nail
Yeah.
together those corners.
Right. And so then you need to rack the wall as well. So you have this long outside wall, and so you need to go to one of the outside corners and see, does it need to go this way or that way? Because
it's also, besides being plumb like that, the whole thing's got a rack.
right. So yeah, when you're doing that,
And we don't use lead-in braces anymore.
no lead-in braces. So you want to check and see which way it needs to rack. So which way the top needs to go, because when you put your braces in, it's way easier to push the brace than to try to pull on a brace. So if the top of the wall,
From one side to the other for your brace.
yeah. So if this wall, the top wanted to go that way, I would put my brace, pointing that direction. So the top would be going that way. Then you can push on the bottom. Somebody can tell you, yeah, you're good there, and then you nail it off.
Yeah.
And
Leverage, man. Leverage.
Yeah, so
Leverage is the key.
right,
Understanding leverage,
right,
you will do a lot less work and get a lot more done if you understand that the end of a lever is the place to be, not the beginning of the lever. It's just like your hammer, man.
right.
It's like guys that was trying to demonstrate this, you know. You probably won't miss a nail head if you hold your hammer like that.
Right. It's going to take you a little while to get it in. Right.
You'll have to hit it 20 times to get it in, where that's the most amount of leverage, hardest to hit your nail with.
Yeah.
You got,
right.
it's like the golf club.
Yeah. You can really get it whipped around.
Leverage.
So the plumbing, the other important part of the plumbing line is making sure that your channels are all marked well. So that's intersecting points.
Intersecting walls.
Yeah. So once this wall is plated, then you wrap your marks around, and the plumbing line guy will go like, okay, good, I can see this wall's on the line. Look up at the top and see that the two walls are butting in the channel marks, so that the top plate of this wall is hitting the channel marks on the top. This one doesn't have them yet. So
you can see he's laid them out. He's continued them.
Yeah, so you snap through so you're able to channel it.
Right.
And that way you can put your level on this wall, and when you're racking this one, then it should take this wall with it and make this corner plumb.
Yeah.
So you're working two walls at one time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you learn that over time, I bet. Because it's I think is really important, and what I figured is really important, is how you do it. Is the
So you're not fighting yourself.
The system,
right?
Yeah, and what follows what.
Sure. Yeah.
So you can do multiple things at once.
Right.
That's how you.
Yeah. So
that's how you get efficient.
Yeah, you'll top off the walls. So you have the intersecting walls that, like this wall is hitting that wall, and you go up to the top and you make sure that the channel's nailed, and that the wall is on the channel marks, and it's on the channel marks down below before you start racking this one, and then it'll go with it.
Right.
So you get all the walls.
Rack this one.
Right. It'll be taking this one to be plumbed with it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And that usually works out, huh?
I don't do a whole bunch of plumbing line, but that's the theory.
So at what point do you step off the job?
As soon as I'm done detailing, so I'll stay here until
detailing, laying out where the openings are.
Yeah, marking all the
studs and
right,
cripples are.
all the wall length, the posts. If there's anything special like fire extinguisher cabinets, bathroom accessories, marking all the block lines. As soon as it's ready to frame, then I usually leave, and I'll come back once the floor is joist to do the same thing up top. Or if there's questions in the meantime of, hey, what's going on with this, or if there's an issue with something, then I'll come back.
So you worked your way through, you went pretty much right into framing because you'd already done the labor part.
Right.
Working for some people and got some chops down. You got a couple of tools. You picked up the trade by actually doing it.
Yep.
You learned more and more, and you learned it from some pretty knowledgeable tradesmen.
Yeah.
Joe Fiala being one of them, and what a trip he is, and smart as a whip. But and then you got yourself in a position where you're doing a lot of the mental work and less of the physical work.
Yeah.
And then what's next for you?
I don't know, man. I guess this is it,
Is it?
Right off into the sunset.
Will you be a principal of the company? Or are you going to?
Yeah, no, there's three of us that own the company now.
So you're part of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah.
So is it you and
myself, Ray, and Louie.
Ray and Louie?
Yeah.
Who are brothers, right?
Right, so Ray does all the estimating, Louie does the field supervision, and then I do the layout.
Don's gone?
Don's gone.
Don's out?
He's been gone for a couple of years, yeah.
I think I knew that, I just forgot.
I think he was gone before Gardens, well before Gardens. So yeah, it's been at least a few years.
Well, you got a great company here. You have an incredible reputation. You seem to have a great body of work behind you. Nothing but work in the future. We're still just. What's it like? What's the climate like right now for work?
It's pretty good. It seems like right when the pandemic hit, there was a pause. Everybody got like, what's going to happen? Waiting to feel things out.
Yeah.
The lumber market tanked for a month maybe. Prices the lumber prices were just
rebelled, man.
Well, no, I mean they were down. So it went down like 40% before it was a multiplier of 2.5 or whatever, and it just never stopped. And then it just started going again. So yeah, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, well, And I think you should be, and you need to make hay while the sun shines. And,
Right.
and you're in a good spot for it. There's still plenty to be developed in Santa Barbara and lots of framing. And is there anything that you can think of that pops into your head that you tell a bunch of people that are interested in construction, just something you want them to know about the trade or about your trade? Would you encourage somebody to get into into the framing trade?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. It's kind of it's hard. There's not a ton of money in it, but it's fun. You know, it's I like the pace of it. I enjoy not being on one job for a really long time.
And don't you love having something concrete that
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
contribute to as a
Right, no,
team
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
figuring the stuff out? And
Yeah. So
you go
that's,
back
I
and
mean,
say, yeah, we got to figure that building out.
Right.
It sprung from somebody's head onto a plan, and then I took that
Yeah.
in my head and made it a real thing.
no, absolutely. And it's, you know, and it's, I can't believe how much some places really stick in my mind as far as, not from being a great or a bad experience, but you get so involved in the plans and the planning and going through these plans that I can think back now and I could go to somebody's house and, you know, walk down the hall and know what